Welcome to our Thursday night live stream.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are Two
Crazy Ketos. And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics. And every Monday, we go live on Keto Beyond the Couch because life exists beyond the couch.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way, every single time one of us looks much more tan than the other one, you'll be alerted to it.
That's because I was on the tractor all day working on our road.
I was going to say, like, you can just tell who was working inside of the house today and who was working on the outside of the house.
So welcome to our Thursday live stream.
Hey, how are you guys?
Let me know if the microphone is working well. We got a new microphone for the RV to hopefully give a little bit better audio quality and also so that we can keep the air conditioner on.
But also have an air conditioner?
Now T-Mobile's going to keep calling because I've been on the phone with them for a half hour trying to change my rate plan, and she took forever. So now she's going to keep calling.
Are you slightly excited about the new iPhone that's coming out?
I'm very excited about the new iPhone because I like the features for the camera, though it's a little scary.
The only person who knows Miss Misha, I love the fact that both of you guys can chat about the features because I have no idea. Like, it takes me a minute.
Well, you listened to the Apple amount while we were driving out.
I did, but it might as well have been in like another language.
The AI features are insane. Like, you're literally going to be able to say, like, find the video where Rachel was wearing a red dress while dancing on a ship, and we'll literally pull that video up out of like our entire library, which will be great for all of the editing I do, because a lot of times I'm like, where was that clip?
I think it's funny that
if it works,
there probably is that exact video available.
Everyone's saying sounds good, sounds great, cool. So welcome to our Thursday live stream. If you're new here, our Thursday live stream is our chance to hang out with our community. We are all about community, and so we do this every Thursday whenever we're not traveling. And basically, we like to answer questions and comments about keto. So if you have a question about keto or pretty much anything else, you can ask us pretty much anything within reason. Not you.
I have
you
a
can't
question.
Ask a question.
I have a question, though.
What?
So I was just watching
something. Well, can I finish saying my wait?
Oh, go ahead.
If you have a question, type question.
Okay.
And then whatever your question is, or use the super chat function. That's the $ in the window. That is greatly appreciated because it benefits the channel. This is our full-time job. But more importantly, it actually shows up on our screen as someone's got a super chat, so we don't miss your question.
Do we probably need Band-Aid money coming up?
Probably.
Like, oh my gosh, yes.
And ant bite money.
So, my first question is...
I sat in an ant pile yesterday.
That was not a good move.
No.
That was just not a good move. My question is, right now, if I were to ask you, what is your absolute favorite food, what would you say? And
chicken wings.
Chicken wings.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Specifically, I want Mardi Gras chicken wings, and they were on sale last week, and we couldn't find any.
You know how that is when there's a run on it. I'm gonna say right now in this moment, beef short ribs. Beef short ribs are my favorite.
Beef short ribs.
Yeah. What about you? Let us know in the chat.
Carrie has a question. Wants to know how far along is the house on the farm?
Great question.
We're still in demolition. It's a lot. So most of all the walls are down. We have a quarter of the bathroom left and then the laundry room. And then after that, all of the sheetrock is down. Now it's the tedious stuff because the sheetrock was all up with staples. So Jim and Lisa came the other day.
Oh my goodness.
And they spent 7 hours here just helping pull staples and stuff. And so we're getting there. I think all the insulation's out. The dumpster is getting picked up tomorrow. We need a new dumpster. Right now, we're out of room in our 30-yard dumpster.
A 30-yard dumpster.
So there's been little things that we've come across, like we had to work on the road. Then they delivered rock the other day, and our culvert collapsed because it was old. We did find out, though, that the county actually maintains the culverts. So the rock company actually gave us some extra rock to just kind of flatten it out because the county's saying it could take a month or two. So at least we can drive in and out. But it's just things that come up where you're like, well, this has to be addressed now, so other stuff goes on hold. But now that the demolition is mostly done,
I'm hopeful.
Things will move along a little bit faster. So we're only about a week behind in where I thought we were going to be, which to me isn't that bad. We did find this liquidator place in Arcadia where I guess they get stuff that was, I don't know how they
don't
get
ask
it.
no questions of where it
Most
came
of
from.
it is coming from Home Depot, so you must just buy semi trucks, kind of like the Amazon kind of deal. And we were able to get the shower piece and the tub for Caleb's bathroom that we really did want. That in Home Depot, it's $600 for the shower and $400 for the tub, and this guy charged me $350 for everything. It's still brand new in the box. Like, you could literally take it, still got the Home Depot stickers, go to Home Depot, return it, and get a store credit. Though we would never do that.
No.
But yeah, we got a really nice patio set. Like, we don't need a patio set right now, but we need someplace to sit.
We know we'll need seating.
And it was like $1,000 patio set for $100, $150. And it's brand new, still like in the box, like still stickers on it and everything. The only problem we found with Caleb's bathroom is it's an abnormal size. It's only 54 inches wide, and this is a 60-inch tub, which was more of a standard. So our solution is move the wall 6 inches. So we're just going to expand that bathroom 6 inches. So that was, again, an unexpected thing. I wasn't planning on taking down a wall, but in the end, I think it will be the better thing. I'll only add like 2 or 3 hours, but the hours will be made up because the shower surround that we got doesn't need sheetrock behind it. It's direct to stud. So, the time gets made up in one place or the other.
And it has been really interesting as far as like fitness goals. We come home and we're pretty exhausted when we get back to the RV every single night. And I just checked down at my watch for like, just, hey, what's going on movement wise? And it's like, you've taken lots of flights of stairs. And also, like, I don't think I have had less than 7 miles of walking in a day. And we're talking about inside of that trailer and moving trash.
So I am going to make this plea once again.
Yes.
Okay, especially what if I can get him to come down a little bit? We have people coming here. Sarah G is moving here. She's going to be hanging out with you. Your mom is coming. Your Aunt Carolyn is coming.
So excited.
People come. We have no place for anybody to sit. So can I please get the table? Because then we'll have places to sit. What if I can get them lower in price?
We'll talk. We'll talk after the live stream.
Because it's at least a place to sit, and it won't go bad. Okay, so Lady Fritzer said, I discovered by accident just shoving the fat I cut off into the smoker to render, but it is glorious.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Cheryl said picanha, Texas State Brazil, or pork belly in my tasty air fryer.
Yes. We were able to share, if you're going on like the low carb cruise, you're going on a cruise that's Royal Caribbean, they have like a specialty restaurant called Chopped. And we went there a couple times with Chris and Miriam, and just seeing Chris light up over that pork belly was pretty amazing.
Vicky and Ryan said, good fortune with the new home. Everything will come together. Don't forget to make a kitchen studio or a place to create your cooking videos. Yeah, eventually we're going to build an outside studio. I'll build a shed. We got to get the house sort of livable because my goal is to be here before Christmas just so we can get the other house sold. So it's kind of like if I can get our kitchen done, a bathroom, our bedroom, and Caleb's bedroom. If I have to live in construction for a couple months,
you can handle it.
We will. My mother lived for 5 years without a sink and like a running toilet.
Please don't compare us to that.
So I'm just saying, if she could do it in her 80s, we could live in a half-constructed house. So we have to get those rooms done, and I think we can. But then we'll build a studio. But that's another one of the things we came because we're going to expand the kitchen. And what we found was the return for the AC was feeding into the bottom of a kitchen cabinet. So when we took out the kitchen cabinet, there was the return. And why is there a return in the kitchen anyway? And then all the smells from your kitchen go through your AC. So that's another thing where we're now going to have to move the return. And I think I figured out a good way to do it, but just little things that come up that you don't expect. But we expected to find things that we didn't expect. if that makes sense.
Expect the unexpected when it comes to a
Lolo
renovation.
said smoked beef brisket, a ribeye, and then chicken wings. It depends on my mood, what I'm having a taste for at the moment. That's me. It really does depend on my mood.
You know what I do tend to drift to is when I see sales. When I see something like on sale, like I see a BOGO on meat for Publix, I start leaning toward how can I enjoy that special meat, the meat that's on sale. And I can always, like this week, it was like pork loin, I believe, is on sale at Publix. So I was thinking, you know what? It's been a second. We've got a tasty air fryer. I have a feeling we can make some delicious, pork loin in there.
Miss Valley said arugula salad with feta cheese, olive oil, and lemon with a big steak on the side. Yeah, sometimes we get hankerings for salad. You'll see when we went on our cruise with Chris and Miriam, I just have to edit some photos from when we went to Sitka. Is it Sitka?
Yeah.
Which was the train? Sitka, right?
No, that was
Skagway.
Yeah.
That's the one we have to edit the photos for. We ate a lot of wedge salads because just had a hankering and they were good.
It was a blue cheese conveyance.
I was going to say, it was really a blue cheese conveyance.
If you enjoy blue cheese and have not yet made Joe's blue cheese, I really highly recommend that recipe because it's amazing.
Shauna's like, Joe's like, meh, move a wall. Yeah, pretty much. I call Rachel and I'm like, here is my solution. Move the wall.
I just look
She's
at him like,
what?
Is that
possible?
possible?
Move the wall. All I gotta, the hardest part is the top stud is nailed from the top down instead of the bottom up through the sheetrock. So you can't get the screws out. So you have to kind of pull the top because we eliminated 2 closets. But you have to pull it down and then use like a saw to cut the screws.
Poor Joe. I'm really sorry. But
my nose is bothering me.
When Jim and Lisa came to help, so Jim, his dad was a building contractor, general contractor. He was a building inspector in New York. And so Joe will say all these things like, we could do this, we could do that. And I am totally not looking at Joe at all. I'm looking at Jim. Like, is that correct? Is what he's saying actually true? And he would be like, yeah, that's okay. Well, you could do that. And so I'm like, okay, I felt calm. Jim was reassuring me.
She doesn't listen to anybody but me.
Joe scares me. But thank you.
Shauna, thank you very much for the $25 super chat said for Band-Aid supplies and work gloves.
Thank you.
The worst part is she's wearing work gloves.
Oh my gosh, yes, but it's like you're doing the same movements like over and over again, and man, some of those boogers just don't want to come out. Like we were yelling at the walls because it was like some of them, you know how when you do a construction project and you get to the end, maybe you get into a tight corner or something that's a little bit like hard to get a trajectory into the wall. So you just kind of Hail Mary it and be like, screw it. No one's ever going to take this down anyway. So I'm just going to slam staples and slam nails into this and it's going to be fine. It's fine until you're the person that has to clean up after that mess.
Bill said, Joe and Rachel, at the rate your steps are going, you'll have walked the Camino in no time.
You're so right. Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Trish said pork belly for $2.99 a pound at Aldi's this
Ooh,
week.
really?
We have an Aldi here.
I feel like there's one, at least in Port Charlotte. We got to check it out. I got to
go to Home Depot in the morning. I'm debating.
Let's check.
Home Depot or 8 a.m. for the Apple iPhone release. Home Depot opens at 6.
Of Home Depot right now. Have y'all been in Home Depot lately? There are so many scary Halloween decor things that people are able to like step in and like trigger and make them do their thing. The technology is getting movie quality, okay? But that is scaring the fool out of me. And I love a good like Halloween display, but there were a couple things that look like a legit real person.
I know. Donna Joe said pulling all the staples nails has to work the forearms. You lose your grip after a while.
Well, I was going to say, Lisa and I were talking about how we're working on our grip strength, that's like a tool of longevity. And she's actually in Coach Nat's program. And she's like, I'm getting credit for this workout, right? Like, so I had to have a shout out on Instagram for Coach Nat. Like, please give Lisa like the full credit for functional fitness today. Because she got it in, dude.
Debbie said, question, how can I figure out why I'm struggling to get out of bed in the morning?
Oh my goodness.
So what do you mean by struggling?
Like sore
Are you
joints?
sore?
Still tired?
Or do you just have no energy? If you're sore, maybe you have some inflammation, maybe something's causing some inflammation, or you just worked a lot of muscles. If you are lacking energy, I would tell you to increase your fat a little bit. Your fat could be a little low. Let's see. Donna Joe said, I'm so over scary Halloween stuff. I'm all for fun stuff.
Yeah, I know. If it's too scary, I think about Anthony. Oh my gracious. So his thing, whenever he got scared trick-or-treating, he would want to take in all of the houses, right? Like he wanted to see how many houses could he hit on Halloween. But there were a couple that I was like, sweetheart, there's just no way. I remember we had a neighbor who actually would make a false wall. So you had
to go in and get them.
So they could hide in between the false walls. So they had these kind of like portrait of Dorian Grays out, but they were real people. And you don't know that until you get up close. So it was kind of, he would say, okay, the good stuff like is going to be at this scary house. And I'm like, maybe, but is it going to be worth it if you pass out? And so he would completely drop. When he got nervous, it wasn't crying. It was literally like pass out, but he would collapse straight down and you would just have to come in and carry him out.
Matt said, when we remodeled the staples at our old house, we just used a junky screwdriver as a pry bar under the staples and it popped them out. Oh yeah, they come out except for every piece of sheetrock on every stud. No kidding, it has 50 to 100 staples.
It is overkill.
Like, you know, it's like screws you'd normally like this far apart. Literally staples, like there's a staple the width of my finger all the way down.
It makes no sense at all. What about that one where it was like you took down this, basically just a divider wall? It wasn't really anything that was important. And it literally looked like Al Capone had shot it with screws. I've never seen so many screws in my life in a wall. It was just odd. And they were just...
Okay, so Debbie said, no, I have no energy and no desire to get up. For energy, I would take a look at your ketones. What are you eating the night before? Maybe increase the fat a little bit. Don't eat a bunch of protein at night.
I'd also check that joy tank. What's going on? Usually when I'm upset about something or I don't want to face the day for some reason, sometimes that has an impact on my energy. Certainly electrolytes are a thing. Certainly you want to have enough energy consumption. And for us keto peeps, that means fat, like Joe is saying. But I would also check about like what else is dragging me down. Anything else?
Jamie said, did you see the study where they said aging isn't linear? I haven't seen that. 44 is a huge aging year. Of course, I am 44. Hey, listen, I'm 54 years old, and I do not feel it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty proud of us. Like, this is some hard work.
This is some very hard work under some
working outside
and hot circumstances. Yeah, we were pretty well.
We are excited, though, because our water no longer smells like rotten eggs.
Oh, happy day. Yeah, I was so excited.
We got like the top of the line softener, anti-sulfur, carbon block. Like,
it smelled so bad. You were literally...
And then you got used to it, which really scared me.
That scared me because at first I was taking a shower and gagging. Like literally gagging because it just smelled like you were washing your body.
Now our water is drinkable.
With something dirtier than you were.
Yeah.
And now... I don't feel like I need to like spray perfume from top to bottom to just survive my own smell.
And what I'm really excited about is pretty much the cigarette smell is finally gone because all the sheetrock and everything is out. Once we paint the ceilings, which will be this weekend, everything will be gone. But it was scary. So we were on the cruise. We came home. We left a towel. It was a clean towel hanging up in the bathroom in there. And I brought it in because I'm just showering in here. And Rachel's like, well, I'll use that towel. I'm like, you don't want to use that towel.
Can't use that towel.
And I'm like, she's like, what? And I'm like, it literally smells like cigarettes. Like just hanging in the house.
Yes.
Where nobody is smoking.
It is definitely a public
service. Just a
service
lingering smell that was in the house.
Announcement in case you didn't already know. Like if you're thinking I'm on the fence about quitting smoking, please get off the fence and quit smoking because like we are seeing, I mean, It scares me when we take off a wall because like there was a cabinet there and you see
it's white.
It's white, but the rest of the walls are legit yellow orange. We were talking to the air conditioning guy that like put the air conditioner system in because we're looking to move the return. And Joe's like, is that cigarette smell and like cigarette smoke going to get into the air conditioning system? He's like, absolutely.
Like, and I'm like, do you guys clean ducts? He's like, no.
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah said, hey, Margaritaville Cruise Line is having a promotion that Heroes sale free that I've been looking at, and it's legitimate. Still have to purchase the extras. Has anyone ever sail with it? Okay, so Margaritaville at Sea. They're a newer cruise line. They have 2 ships. One goes out of West Palm. One goes out of Tampa. We have not sailed on the one out of West Palm. Well, we haven't sailed on either, but Rachel's brother sailed on the one out of West Palm, and I've talked to people, like friends of mine that I know, and I would not sail on the one out of West Palm. It's a really old ship, and everyone says the food is horrible, and it's really a booze cruise because it's like a 2-day thing.
But you know what? Maybe if you just want to get away.
But I don't think it's worth it. Everybody that I've talked to. However, the one out of Tampa is a newer cruise ship. It's not a new cruise ship. It's an old Costa cruise ship, which was from Carnival. It's a nicer ship, and everybody that I've talked to that has sailed on that one, has been a very pleasant experience. So if you're going to do Margaritaville at Sea, I would suggest the one out of Tampa, not the one out of West Palm. Okay. As a matter of fact, like people are enjoying it so much that Tampa is like, they're going to expand their cruise port.
Wow.
Because Tampa's a smaller cruise port.
It is.
But they can't have big ships because you have to go under the bridge. West Palm is like a nothing cruise port. Like there's no major things there. But I would go on the one out of Tampa because I've heard some really good things. And I think I think one of the things is it's not an overnight cruise. It's like a few days.
Yeah, because sometimes the shorter the cruise.
And Heroes sail free is always a good thing.
Oh, that is amazing. But sometimes the shorter the cruise, the more the attitude of some of the people on the cruise are like, we die tomorrow, so we need to consume as much alcohol as we possibly can to like enjoy this last night of freedom. Like, I don't know what it is, but the vibe is very strange on the shorter cruises. I will say, if you're going on the low carb cruise to Alaska this coming year, the vibe on that boat was so different, like very like calm, reflective. I don't think that there was at any point that I felt like this is just a party on the ocean. It was a real relaxed thing. And I was actually talking to Patty about that too, because she came on the cruise as well, the same one we were on. And she was like, yeah, after, being on the low carb cruise, but to like a Caribbean port versus this one, she's like, the vibe was very different.
Okay. So I saw one, let me see. Donna Joe said I had to remove so many nails when I redid baseboards, and so many nails that didn't have a head anymore. So time consuming and frustrating.
Shout out to Donna Joe, who was doing some nice things to like get her daughter's patio ready for her. I guess her daughter was away, and while she was gone, she used her ability, because Donna Joe is like a major workout person. Like, she's fantastic about getting her movement in. And she used that, and I love that. Yep. That it's not just that we're lifting weights and walking, but the fact that you're using the muscles to do something. And she, in this case, did something very nice for her daughter.
Trish said, Debbie, I used to sleep for 10 hours and wake up tired. It was sleep apnea. Sleep apnea has made all the difference in the world. Yeah, it's something. And Larry also said possibly looking at sleep apnea.
Yeah.
There's a new app coming on the Apple Watch where it's actually going to be able to check you for sleep apnea, which is really cool.
Fascinating.
The other thing that I found fascinating with the new AirPods, and even if you have the old set, it's going to be an update. You're going to be able to give yourself a hearing test.
Hello.
An actual hearing test. And if it finds you do have issues, you will actually be able to, although they would be very big, you'll be able to use your AirPods as a hearing aid. It will have a hearing aid setting. Technology
is amazing. I also think it's interesting that a lot of the technology is going in the direction of supporting our health. Like, yes. That is when you think, what do people want out of their technology? They want things to help kind of hack their health.
Yeah. Joe said, I have a feeling that there are so many staples in your sheetrock because it's intended to be delivered possibly tens of thousands of miles.
Yeah.
And they want to make sure there are no returns.
Right.
I just saw one. Adam said, I thought Joe was 34 and Rachel was 24.
I love you, Adam. Just so you know, like you win. You win awesome friends of the night for sure.
Easy Peasy Keto said, hello, Keto family. We're enjoying the show tonight. And after my cataract surgery and stent placement for glaucoma pressure, thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm glad that their surgery was successful.
Asker Cindy is here. She said she does not feel 67. Well, she doesn't act 67.
You don't look 67, young lady. She's a hot tamale.
Cindy. Shout out to Nurse Cindy.
So good to see you, gorgeous.
Paul said, cheers to the 54-year-olds. I'm still throwing my butt around the beach while young guys are zinging volleyballs at my head. So long as I can do that and still walk the next day, I call it a win.
I think that is an extreme win. Absolutely, it's a win.
Jesse said, good evening. I had my tonsillectomy last Friday.
How'd
Saying
that go?
It's painful for adults is an understatement. I'm miserable, but thanks to Keto Chow Creamies and egg pudding, I'm able to get a little.
I'm so glad. I had my tonsils out, but I was 4. So when you said that you were getting them out, I thought, I've heard that it is really challenging for adults to have their tonsils out. So it's like, I knew that my circumstance would pale in comparison to your experience. So I'm sorry about that, but I'm really glad that you're finding Keto Chow helpful.
Yep.
It's nice that we have some options.
Patty is here. She said, I agree, it was a different vibe. Yeah, Patty was on the cruise in Alaska with us. I booked that cruise for her. Adam said, how much is the cruise? You're talking about for the low-carb cruise? You need to contact Debbie, lowcarbcruise.com. For the birthday cruise for next year, the link is down below. Sarah said, no Alaska for me. Warm sun beaches and sand all day. I do plan to attend a Caribbean low-carb cruise in the future.
Nice.
Jen said, I've decided that if I got a ring to track my sleep, it would tell me to get rid of my cat.
Because does your cat wake you up all through the night? It was funny. John Paul and Michelle were sharing that their business is looking to, support some like local animal shelters, that sort of thing. And they went and visited one. I said, how did, the meeting go today or yesterday? And she was like, we narrowly got out of there without a cat.
I saw the picture of the cat up on top of Peyton and Peyton looking like, what's this thing?
It's so hard, especially when you see this beautiful animal that your child has a connection with. Your heart's just melted. But they were like, no,
my heart is melting with Tabitha.
She's really enjoying being
Tabitha
here.
has really enjoyed being here.
She's filthy most of the time.
Except for when we leave, because we leave her outside because there's really no place for her. Like at home, she just stays in the house. But here, like we leave the door open for her. There's nothing in the house to steal, but we're not going to put her in the RV. There's just not enough room in here. She comes in here at night, but that's about it. But so we leave the door open so she can go inside.
She's so offended.
But as we're leaving, she just sits and looks like, really? Like, you're really going to leave me?
Are the worst parents
and follows
in the world.
Us all the way to the gate. And even this morning when we were trying to leave, she knows that the gate is going to close. So she sneaks out right as the gate closes. And you got to get out of the car, open the gate, chase her back in.
But she's looking at you. And then she
sits there and looks at you like, I cannot believe you're leaving.
I can't believe you're going out to have some fun without me. And we try to
She's living in the pond.
We try to explain to her, we're not trying to have any fun. We're running errands. We're sweaty. We're disgusting. We're trying to get cheap bathtubs and things like that. No understanding that. It's like, talk to the paw.
No, she just lives she's always, every time you turn around, she's going for a swim in the pond.
I felt really bad for Lisa and Jim though, because immediately upon meeting them,
she was laying in mud when they showed up.
She's like, hi, can I rub all of this garbage on you?
She was just covered. She found a mud puddle and lays in the mud puddles.
I'm sorry.
Let's see. Sean said, I'm starting to have Navy flashbacks with the hearing test. Just pushing the button like crazy because of all you hear is ringing. Kathy said, I saw Neely and Steve both got the new tracking rings to try. Did you all get those? No.
No, we have Aura rings, but But and for tracking for exercise, I just use my Apple Watch.
Jennifer said I paid $1,500 for Hub's hearing aid to wear them 3 days. I recently donated them.
Aw, I think it would be like challenging. I think even just because you take them out to go to bed, I guess too. We have a hard time keeping track of little things. I guess if they have chargers and stuff, we would.
Sarah said, I want to thank everybody for the encouragement on Mighty Networks the other day. By the way, I'm pulling up my bootstraps and back on the wagon. My son is back home also.
Yay.
Family, teachers, docs, and therapists all on board. That is
way
awesome.
to go.
I love our family. Joanna said, I close my door now at night because the cats think it's time to get up at 3 to 4 a.m. It moved. I still hear them cry in the hall, but my sleep has improved.
That's good. It does help. Like I can remember Roscoe and Charity both, they would come in and want to sleep like right on my chest or right over on top of my head. And it definitely did impact things because, you know, cats have attitude. They're not concerned that they're waking you up. And you're like, rude. And it's like, if they have to step right on your face, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, your face was in the way. It's not that my paw is rude. It's that you should have a face that's less sensitive.
Sarah said, 2KK, I have a suggestion. Upload the lives on a podcast. Oh, I'm cramping. I drive 1 to 1.5 hours, 3 days a week, and listen to your Monday lives on YouTube.
Well, thank you.
Patty said, we still have nonstop going since getting home from the cruise. Chris is going back to work tomorrow. I'm sure he is ready for a break from his very busy vacation.
That is a thing. You are so right. If you are going on a cruise or really any vacation, I highly recommend that you don't have your very next day going back to work, that you leave yourself a buffer. I was even sharing that with Anthony and Sarah because, you know, they're going to be going on a cruise for their honeymoon coming up soon. Very excited about it. But I was like, I know that you have a really long cruise because like an 8-day cruise, but I'm like, take one more day after you get home because you do have to kind of get your sea legs back.
Especially if you're going to Alaska. For those of you going on a low-carb cruise, get in at least the day before.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, do not risk coming in the morning.
No.
Okay, do not risk that. It happens over and over and over again. Flights get delayed, especially into Seattle. And if you miss your cruise, you are not getting your money back. Please make sure you get there at least the day before. But because of the time change, if you can, I would get in at least the morning of the day before, not at night like we did, because it does make for being very tired. So if you're coming from the East Coast, like it could really affect you.
It took us a long time to get home as well. You figure like the cruise.
For us, it's a 6.5 hour flight.
And that was on top of waiting all day long because we needed a certain particular flight.
And we lost 3 hours. And when you go to Alaska, it's another hour in your time change. So definitely
it was literally
give yourself an extra day or two.
It was like 24 hours of travel after your cruise. And I know it's like, wow, you were on vacation, but you're trying to think really hard, make sure you don't forget anything, get home. Like there's a lot on your mind and you're tired.
Carrie has a good question. I was going to get coconut water for electrolytes. Don't do that. I noticed they have lots of sugar in them. Is that okay? Or no, it is not okay. Coconut water is one of the worst things on keto for electrolytes. Just don't. It's loaded with sugar, and it's natural sugar, but it's still sugar. It's still going to jack your glucose up. It's still going to kick you out of ketosis. And here's the thing: anytime you start using something with sugar, Gatorade, that will dehydrate you more than the electrolytes that you're trying to get from them. Yeah. Gatorade is one of the worst products ever. It is popular simply because of marketing.
Great marketing.
And again, even the zero sugar Gatorade, you're not getting much out of it.
Or Powerade.
There's lots of chemicals, but years ago we did a comparison, and again, rounding. There's like one or two carbs in the zero sugar, but to get 1,000 milligrams of potassium, you need to drink, if I remember right, it was 30 servings of Gatorade. And it worked out to be like 19 carbohydrates.
If you're looking for a really like low cost electrolyte that we trust, the electrolyte drops from Keto Chow are pretty awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, you can get the electrolyte capsules from Keto Chow. Element is good. You know, none of them, I know, Carrie, you always worry about caffeine. None of them have caffeine
no
in them.
caffeine.
So that's where I would go, you know, or make your own. If money is really a thing, get some Redmond real salt. Don't use crappy salt with the Umbrella Girl on it. Get some regular Redmond real salt. That is not expensive, but you're going to get a bunch of minerals in it. And then go to the store and buy something called New Salt. NU salt. So that is loaded with potassium. Mix that, put it on your food, mix it in water, put a little bit of, you can mix it with apple cider vinegar, and that'll help you get your potassium and stuff. But do not use coconut water. It's horrible for you. Sarah said, I had to train my husband to leave the cats outside when they started to disrupt his sleep. Then he agreed. Andrew said, is there a Habitat for Humanity restore nearby? Yes, we went in there and they had nothing. It looked more like a thrift store than a Habitat. Because in Fort Lauderdale, we had a Habitat and we used to buy stuff all the time there.
We may keep checking in with them for like paint because it looked like that was something that they got.
But it was more of a thrift store. It kind of shocked us. The one in Fort Lauderdale always had like bathtubs and furniture.
But these liquidator place that we found seems to really have a nice variety. Everything from like brand new ceiling fans and lighting fixtures. And we're looking for kitchen cabinets that are really cheap. And he said those were in last week, but unfortunately we weren't here last week. So we'll just have to keep a lookout for that. We're also looking for vinyl flooring. He said that he's had some over time that's been less than $2 a square foot, and we need a lot of square feet of that. And it's some of the places like Floor and Decor we've looked at. A lot of the times the vinyl flooring is as much as $4 a square foot, so that would be a huge cost savings.
Patricia said, have you tried your Stello yet? I'm waiting to hear your opinion before I try it. We will be putting it on this weekend.
Yes.
I know Chris is in the middle of right now testing the Stello next to a Freestyle. Like he's wearing them both. One thing just that I did not even know, but he let me know, is that the app for Stello, and a lot of people are saying it's not that great anyway, is not available on Android.
Ooh, that'll be a big thing for people.
Let me make sure I'm quoting him right. So, because he hacked this thing. He said, you cannot try the Lingo because the app is iOS only. So he said, but he's using some open source thing instead of the Stello app anyway because it allows more detail.
He's very computer savvy.
Yes. Matt said, Joe, I adopted the Ender 5 Plus from Chris Miller. I heard that. Thanks for all the upgrades. Just have to work on fixing the extrusion issue.
How cool. I can't wait to see what you make. How is your costume coming along for next year, or you're going to do it for the Orlando Comic Con, right? Like how is your costume coming along?
Sarah said, I can't wait to make something with banana bread. I'm only doing carnivore and keto chow right now. I want you to make me some banana bread things.
I think I could do that for you.
Sean said recovery days are a must, especially if changing time zones. I definitely agree. Denise said, question players, please. Tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary since losing my sweetheart.
You're definitely going to be on our hearts, Denise. I'm so sorry.
Sonia said, question, I love lemons and often find myself peeling and eating an entire lemon. Is this likely to stall my progress? Probably not.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of sugar in lemons. I wouldn't do a bunch of them every single day. One thing you'll see, I'll give you a little insight for the low carb, for not the low carb, but for the just a cruise in general, or orange juice. So on the last day, every day they offered fresh squeezed orange juice at the bar in the Windjammer. Now that is not included in your cruise fare. They have juices, but not fresh squeeze. And if you have a refreshment package, that's included. Well, I always just say no. So finally on the last day, we were getting ready to leave. And I'm like, I'm really curious about this. And so I grabbed one, I brought it back. Rachel's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm not going to drink it. But I asked him, the glass is like this big.
It's a tiny one, juice glass.
How many oranges to make that glass of orange juice? Because they're squeezing them right there in the bar. 3 oranges in one small breakfast-sized glass of orange juice.
That was crazy. I thought about that in terms of like people just pouring glasses every single morning for breakfast. Like if you would sit down and eat 3 oranges, Like,
I, no kidding, used to drink a mason jar of fresh squeezed orange juice because Opa had oranges.
So it's funny, we were watching Superman 2 recently with Christopher Reeve, and there's like a funny segment, and it was right after he had, had this orange juice and realized it was 3. And Lois Lane is squeezing Superman, or I guess he's Clark Kent at that moment, like some fresh squeezed orange juice. And she's saying, like, she smokes her cigarette, like, this is hell, which is kind of funny. But she squeezes like 1 or 2 oranges and only gets a tiny little bit out of it. And it's like, yeah, it does take a lot of oranges to make orange juice. It's the same thing when we used to go to Jamba Juice all of the time.
Oh my gosh.
It was like fruit basket turnover in there.
Lisa said, Jim always said taking a shower in sulfur water smells like chicken noodle soup. His parents had sulfur water at their camp.
I'd love to say it just smelled like chicken noodle soup.
So when we bought the house, the inspector, because we had the well inspected, the inspector said the pressure tanks really need to be changed. So we tried to get the owners to change them. But we kind of put in there like it needs a softener system. And they just refused. The guy was like, listen, 4th generation here. And
smells fine to me.
It smells fine. You don't need it. I'm not paying for it.
Yeah.
We did learn today because we've been trying to clean things up as we go along. And whenever I hook up the grapple to the tractor, because it takes a little bit longer with the hydraulics, I start, what can I do with this now? And he's got garbage thrown everywhere. So in the very back corner, they had a RV that we insisted disappear. Well, it looks like they just took all of the contents of the RV and tossed it into the woods.
Be free. Hoses.
And I'm like,
chairs.
Yeah, like poop hoses. I'm like, really? Really?
I'm sure it's just gone. I'm sure if you just throw stuff into
I'm just trying to make a big
forest, it's just gone, right? We're going to need a dumpster for that.
Troy said, I'm so sorry. Denise, I pray you feel the peace and comfort of Christ and can remember the joy that loving well has given you.
Aww.
Debbie said, when are you talking for the Keto Diet Summit? I'm hoping to be on for the live, but it depends on the grandkids. Do you know when we're going to
We are going to be
we're
the very last speaker. If you go to the Keto Diet Summit webpage, I believe there is a link already there for like the schedule for the evening. So you can look it up and actually see when all of the speakers are going to be speaking. I know that we are dead last. So it's on the 17th, and I want to say it's like 8:45 in the evening. Yeah. It's a later
I have to finish uploading
conference. Maybe it's 8 or 8:45.
Cindy said
we'll be live in the chat.
Cindy said natural sugar on a label cracks me up. Cane sugar is natural, but it's not beneficial.
Seriously, and there's so many like names for sugar that's disguising itself, like agave nectar. Like there's all kinds of different names for sugar that sound better than just like sugar.
It jumped. Paige said, I started keto in April. So bummed that I don't know about Keto Palooza until last week. Of course, registration is closed. When does registration usually open for it? Last minute cancellations ever? Yeah, go to Keto Palooza's Facebook group because there are people who've been posting like, hey, I have a ticket and I can't go. And Autumn will verify in the group and say, like, this is a legitimate ticket.
Yes. So check it out because it may not be too late.
Yeah. Let's see. Trey said, I can't imagine. Oh, okay, that's just talking to somebody else. Carrie said, the last time I bought Redmond salt from HEB, I got the bigger salt and have been salting food.
Nice.
And it's been wonderful since I was using the fine salt.
It really is delicious. There's such a taste difference. I love it when we need to get some more of those packets to maybe even bring to Keto Palooza where it's like side by side Redmond salt versus literally any other table salt. And it's just the taste is so different. That's even how they found that they had salt in the underground mine was the fact that the livestock was licking and they were thinking, what is under there that they just can't stop messing with? And it was the salt.
Jennifer said I downloaded the salt app for Andrew. Yeah, no, I misunderstood him. It's the lingo. Matt, let's see. Aaron said that's about as funny as for Cindy. That's about as funny as gluten-free label on Quaker Oats since oats don't have gluten.
Right.
It's like when you look at eggs and the egg packages or chicken and it says hormone and antibiotic free. all chicken and eggs are antibiotic and hormone free. All of them. They have to be legally. It's a marketing gimmick.
It just sounds good.
Let's see. Kathy said, what is the purpose of keto chow in a recipe? Is it just for flavor and protein? Trying to figure out how to use it. The reason you use keto chow is it's basically taking the place of flours. So a lot of recipes, if you're looking to eliminate flours, gluten, grains, things like that, you would use protein powders. And so the keto chow works really well for that.
If you look up 2 Crazy Ketos and keto chow, we have a ton of recipes. There's a lot of recipes on 2crazyketos.com that uses keto chow. And also you can go to keto chow on its own and check out their recipe section, because there's just a lot of versatility for it. Everything from making drop biscuits to making soups and stews. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do with keto chow.
Paul said, I'd love to try Stella. Ryan looks at my normal Dexcom just to see what the differences are in accuracy. The G6 is super accurate 99% of the time. I have to imagine it's not even going to be close. I mean, again, they're marketing the Stella as this is not for somebody on medication, not for somebody insulin dependent like yourself.
Yeah, Paul's type 1.
And that you cannot calibrate it. I have a feeling. I mean, I think the Dexcom is a great device. It's just super expensive.
Yeah.
Matt said, my costume is coming along very slowly. Hopefully I can get the new printer running right, and I'll be cooking with grease.
I love it. I'm so excited.
Carmen said, for the Stella, it is available on Android, but it has to be Android 12. Mine is a 10, so I can't get it.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Aaron said, I got my first Stella sensor replaced after it stopped reading my glucose after 6 days. The Stella up is okay, but you can see better data in the Dexcom clarity.
It's a good first step in the right direction no matter what, because I just like the fact that it's kind of like the curtain is down when it comes to having a CGM without a prescription. That's what we needed. Even if there's like lots of bugs in it, even if it's not perfect yet, like I am just thankful that we can now get a CGM without a prescription. That's a huge step forward.
Jennifer said, I've been a coward, but I finally bit the bullet and tried sardines. They're not bad you get boneless. I needed to.
They're not bad at all. And I will say, if you're really looking for something tasty, is if you will pan fry them in butter. You have to do it outside, because unless you live by yourself, because your family will want you to cook this thing outside. But shallow, like pan frying it in butter or beef tallow is so delicious. It makes for the most wonderful, like if you're making fish tacos, it's fantastic. Or like, fried fish on top of a salad. It's delicious. Really good. I was surprised.
Carrie said, are there any precautions when using new salt for potassium? I mean, consuming way too much potassium could be harmful, but
yeah,
it's a lot. Again, people make comments like, well, salty's got a lot of potassium. Are you allowed to eat a banana? Well, yes. Well, there's less potassium in a salty than there is in a banana.
A single banana.
Now, I mean, if you have major kidney issues, that could be something that you might want to look at. Remember, we're not doctors, nurses, or health professionals, but on average, you should be consuming 2,500 to 3,500 milligrams of potassium per day minimum, even on a standard American diet, let alone on a ketogenic diet where your body is not holding on to electrolytes and you have to replace them more.
Did Dr. Berry use in his Keto Raid recipe, did he use new salt in that?
I don't remember.
Might want to check it out. Remember Dr. Berry was making some Gatorade wannabe.
Here's the thing. If you're willing to eat an avocado, if you were on the standard American diet, if you can eat a banana, just don't worry about it. Like, there's literally more potassium in that stuff. That's the thing is that like on the ketogenic diet, you're not going to get potassium in a lot of different foods.
Yeah.
So it's one of the reasons some of it's supplemented. Because like, for example, I'm low on electrolytes right now because my calf and my thigh is
twitching.
Cramping. Let's see.
We were pounding the salty when Lisa and Jim were here because you just are constantly sweating it out. I mean, this is beginning of September in the middle of the state of Florida. It is so humid. I mean, you're just pouring the sweat constantly.
Dawson said, I learned today that flavored vape juices contain hidden sugars. I never use them, but they always smell so sweet. I guess people are starting to figure this out from using CGMs.
That's interesting.
Well, vape juices are made with generally PG or VG, which is, by the way, the same thing that is in asthma medications. And then some kind of nicotine, if it's got nicotine, and then food flavorings. And some of those have sweeteners in them.
Right. You're also probably...
They use bakery flavorings.
You also can have a reaction just based on the nicotine alone. Like it does stuff to us, right?
Yeah. And nicotine is a stimulant. It's
like caffeine.
It's pretty much the same thing as caffeine. It does similar things. Problem with cigarettes is the thousands of other chemicals.
Right. All the carcinogens and the tar and all that nasty stuff.
Let's see. Paul said, yes, for Apple, the Stello is only good for below iOS 18.
Got high hopes for the future.
Let's see. Shauna said, I still want to know who has the job of taking those tiny bones out of our sardine. I got to imagine they're just babies. I have to imagine. I would assume they're just babies.
Okay, so this was something on the cruise. You know how I love seafood. You know, as soon as the seafood is aplenty, Rachel is jumping on it. And Joe is really thankful that we're on a cruise because it means he doesn't have to get some just because I do. But we were getting, what was it that we were eating? It wasn't cod. It was something else. I'll have to ask Miriam. But they were not deboning it. And
it was something in the windjammer.
Oh my gracious. So like just make sure, this could be a PSA for somebody, like before you take a big bite because you're just used to boneless like cod fillets or halibut or whatever that you just kind of blindly put a chunk in. I should be better like Nurse Cindy and chew. But sometimes, you know, I take too big of a bite and I was instantly
I will say with seafood, like when we went to Alaska, we had this really good Uber driver coming back from the glacier, and he said, don't eat at Tracy's. It's way overpriced. It's like there's other places. Tracy's is like a super famous place in Alaska, in Juneau, but he's like, don't eat there. It's really, really overpriced.
We couldn't afford to eat
but
there
you wanted, she's like, oh, maybe we'll get king crab. And then it's like $75
for a little bit.
So when we came home, I love Deadliest Catch. And so I showed her the opening scene for the second half, and she's like, and that is why it's $75 a pound.
They were advertising.
They're holding up one crab and going, this is $500 to the fisherman.
They were like showing that there were like specials around there. So like just kind of prepare yourself for that. But it was like dinner for two, only $350. And I was like, $350 for a crab dinner. Guess who will not be eating in the ports?
Well, one of the reasons king crab is so high is because there was no fishing for king crab for like 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's
way
at an
expensive.
all-time high.
So
you know, again, $75 a pound.
And you think that sounds like a lot, but it goes very fast.
And that's at the grocery store, by the
way.
Right. Joe said Pork and Good has chicken nuggets, has 4 starches, dextrose, pork rinds on the 7th ingredient. I was worried when it had half the carbs of regular nuggets. No hormones or antibiotics. Shauna said I tried lionfish on the 2023 cruise in Roatan.
Yay.
Though because of all the lionfish Joe caught, scuba diving. Lionfish,
nice.
I don't like seafood, and lionfish is very sweet.
It's tasty, right? Were you surprised at the taste of it, Shauna? Because it does have like a sweetness to it. And I really like it. It's just the preparing it is daunting because of all of the poisonous barbs that they have.
Andrew said, question, does the liquidator store let you leave a wish list and a phone number so they call when something comes in? So they're only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I think he gets his stuff in on Wednesday. It's like a good old boy kind of town. And so it's like, we made it known this is what I'm looking for. But he's like one of these guys like, oh, you're going to buy this too? I'll give you a special price, but don't tell anybody.
Right.
You know, like the more you buy, the more I'll take off the price of it. Right. But don't tell anybody I'm taking the price off. So like we're becoming friends with him. So like I told him, like,
I need a cheap toilet, buddy.
That's what I'm saying.
We're going to be besties.
He's got a $2,000 table that he's selling for $500. And like, I'm like, we're going to buy more stuff. Like, I'm looking for flooring, and I'm looking for lights.
How
and I'm
cheap
looking,
can they give it
like,
to me?
you know, let's see. Touchdown bills for those watching.
You got a nice, what was that?
I got a $1,000 Husky
Tool chest?
brand new tool chest for $250.
And we're gonna need it.
Yeah. Well, because I don't have a garage anymore. Shauna said, yes, I was surprised. I'm not a fish person, but we had it at my friend's resort she owns in Roatan.
What a nice time. I was so glad that you got to do that as an excursion and just sort of like get to catch up. How amazing is it that you have, of all places we were going, Roatan, you had a friend that moved there and opened up a resort, by the way. I thought that was pretty cool.
Okay, we're going to just end on this one.
Okay.
Because, like, so from Lisa.
Okay.
So, Rachel, I thought you would get a kick out of this. When I got home and went to get in the shower, I had a staple stuck in my boob.
Oh my gosh. I am so sorry. There has been, since we moved here, weird things come out in the shower because they just get caught, you know, and you're like
I
knocking
sat
things
on an anthill working on the well yesterday.
Well, I thought, honey, you've broken out in a rash on your butt cheek. Like, that's a weird place for a rash. And Joe's like, it's not a rash.
I
sat in an anthill.
There wasn't even an anthill there. The anthill was way over. They just made their way to the well.
That's how long you were working on the well.
They did the work on our well with our softener, and he goes, this outlet isn't working. So I'm like, he's like, call an electrician. I'm like, I am not calling an electrician. Go away so I can do this without you seeing me do it. And worst case, I can call John Paul. I mean, he's 2.5 hours away, but I know how to do.
There was a dead frog that was fried in the electric box.
A frog got fried in the box. You guys would be proud. We'll end with this, actually. Rachel's starting to overcome her fear of frogs, but she kind of has no choice.
We're freaking living in Egypt.
Tree frogs everywhere. You missed it last night when I went out to check something. This giant tree frog, this big, jumped from the floor and lands on the wall next to my head.
No. I went, you know when I knew it was bad? I went to go close the storage unit, and I felt, that felt squishy. That didn't feel like
Indiana
metal.
Jones. They're everywhere. And they stick to the walls. They just jump up and grab on the wall.
So if you're somebody that enjoys tree frogs, boy, do we have a living pet store for you right now. Ugh.
Okay, we are going to get off. We will be back live on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern for Keto Beyond the Couch. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. And if you haven't, go check out the Keto Diet Summit.
We love you guys.
Night. Bye.